Good afternoon, and welcome to another Facebook Live Lunch and Learn with the Center for African American Health. The Center for African American Health is hosting a COVID-19 vaccine clinic on November 23rd from 5 to 8 p.m. We will also be running those clinics from the 23rd of November through the month of December. We will be providing first, second, and third doses of both Pfizer and Moderna vaccine, and we will be providing children's vaccine doses as soon as they are available. Please remember that vaccines are free of charge, and you need no ID to receive those vaccines. Details are available in the chat, so please share this information with your family and friends. And as we wait for a few more people to join us, we'd like to introduce both our speaker today, who is Emanuel Wilder, and I'll do that introduction first of myself. And then I'll also tell you a little more about the Center for African American Health. I'm Yolanda Gotier. I am the Director of Programs for the center. And for those of you who may be unfamiliar with the work of the Center for African American Health, we have been in the community for more than 20 years with a focus and a commitment to improving the health and well-being of African American community. As we move through today's session, please feel free to type your questions in the comment area, and we will address them if time permits. Our topic today is workforce readiness and what the Center for African American Health is doing to meet that goal. Recognizing that African Americans face systemic obstacles in finding and receiving employment, the Center for African American Health applied for and received a grant from the City and County of Denver through the Denver Economic Development and Opportunity NEST program. This grant has enabled us to work with Denver County residents who are seeking to gain or update and strengthen their professional development. Today, our guest is Emanuel Wilder. Emanuel, would you please tell us who you are and why you came to this amazing program?
Yolanda, really happy to be here, and thank you for giving me this platform. I hail from the Windy City, Chicago, Illinois, and I've been a transplant here at Denver for the last 7 months. And during those journeys, I've been able to embark on a true passion of mine to help people, people of color, people of non-color, to really learn how to maximize their presence on the interview and how to build their professional branding. So I've done some work in Chicago through the school system, high school teacher, had an opportunity to work with Oprah Winfrey, but I really found a passion in adult education and subsequently through workforce development. And so I've spent time building programs and curriculum to really help people excel in these areas. I'm really excited to support what's happening here at the center.
All right, well, thank you so much. And I know that we are absolutely just feel so gifted that you agreed to work with us. So as we began to unpack this whole idea of workforce readiness for the Center for African American Health.
And it's definitely a privilege to work with such a really vocal program and the community remain staple here in Denver. So the privilege is equally mine to be connected with you all. I think the curriculum breaks 3-week modules, and those modules are designed to really help people build their professional portfolios. Usually, this kind of work is called workforce development. We've taken those same principles, but we've dubbed it the cornerstones of career purpose. So when you sign up for one of these courses, you're taking effectively a course called the cornerstones of career purpose. And those are broken down into 3 weeks. The first week is really a discovery of vision, mission, and career purpose. What are some formulas we can use to discover and extract what our career purpose is all about. How can we speak intelligently and articulately about why we are seeking certain opportunities? The second week is really geared around professional development. That's going to focus on our interview etiquette, focuses on our communication styles. We help people learn how to draft resumes of purpose, and not just, showing people how to cross T's, dot I's, make sure you spell things correctly and put your address at the top. To us, a resume is a much deeper discussion of a narrative of your ability and your unique perspective. So we really revisit and reimagine what the resume looks like in that week 2. And we really, deal a lot with a person's communication style, how that can be used as an effective tool. And that third week, and I think I'll spend more time going through these a little bit later, but that third week is really discussing networking opportunities. We are showing folks how to leverage what they already have within their circles to build new careers and to meet new captains of industry. We teach people how to skip the hiring line. Everybody needs to apply for a job online, but we show people how to find and locate decision makers so that they can actually get a leg up on the competition. How can we immediately connect with a recruiter with a message of purpose, with an email that has impact, and then essentially, take it from next steps, really presenting ourselves as a professional who's ready to do the work and who can add immediate value to the work. So that's kind of a breakdown of our curriculum. One thing I did want to mention also is this idea of professional branding. For us, it's really important that people walk away from our sessions with a handle on what their brand is professionally. Subway, Nike, McDonald's, Caterpillar, United, all of these companies have brands. All of us can be aware of the messages they get across. We're always aware of the feelings they emit once we listen to them or see their articles or see their products. We need our own brands. We need one that can be tangible. And I think people are going to be taught to be intentional around building concepts of their brand. Why does your brand matter? How can we cultivate it? How can we tweak it? How can we present it? Is our brand always speaking for us? And so this course is a lot more than how to find a job, how to keep a job, how to get promoted. This is a lot more than how to make a resume, how to do an interview, who should I talk to? This is, of course, all about self-discovery and how people can use their voice to do that. So we teach folks about research. A lot of times people are not researching companies as effectively as they should. 20 minutes on Google is not a significant dive into the research. So what we do is we talk about forensic research. How can we speak to a company's vision? But not simply that. How can we speak to the mentality of the founder when he or she started the company 100 years ago? Now we're putting ourselves in the seat of the entire cultural experience that this company is putting together. So when we speak to the organization, we understand where their roots came from. And subsequently, we even understand the soil that's kind of new, given nutrients to those roots. So now we're thinking about this in a whole new way. And that's kind of how our class rests on a different paradigm than some of the other kind of workforce programs that might be in existence. So I'll kind of pause there. Don't want to go too far.
All right. So when you're speaking about professional branding, and you also said something about how to use our voice, what does it really mean for us to use our voices effectively?
Yeah. First thing, we have to understand the power of the voice that we already harness. And we understand that by knowing what type of voice it is. How do we communicate? People fall into 4 original buckets of the communication process. Either we are systematic, we are direct, we are considerate, or we are expressive in nature. Having a handle, Ms. Yolanda, on those types of attributes of a style can give one person power over that style. And we teach people how to acknowledge, hey, for example, let's put context around this. Let's say you are a direct communicator. You speak quickly, you speak efficiently, you don't have lots of time for small talk. We teach people the strengths to such a direct communication style and why that's needed on the workforce. We teach people some of the challenge areas that they need to keep an eye out for once their style is stressed. And then thirdly, we teach them how to flex towards a style that's different from theirs. Most problems and conflicts arise because there's a communicative difference. There's a breach in communication. Most people want something good, usually. The thing is, we have different ways of getting there. When we're able, through the Cornerstones of Career Purpose class, to teach the direct communicator how to flex towards the considerate, how to understand their methodology is quite different, their approach is different, here's how you need to react and respond to them. Now we're teaching people more than just, how to not say and like. We're teaching people how to identify who's sitting across from them, who's in the room with them, and how they can strategically and intelligently navigate that space. So,
Okay, thank you for that. So knowing that the pandemic has had, I don't know, I think a devastating and an eye-opening impact on how we job seek, how we job search, what's available for both employers and their potential employees.
yeah,
How would you say that this cornerstones of purpose will be effective?
yeah, really good question. In light of COVID, things have really changed. The first differentiating factor from the center's approach to workforce development is that we teach people to be asset-minded first, which means we are no longer job seekers in this program. Everything shifts. We are asset-minded, meaning we are providers now. That small switch in identity does a lot to help someone's confidence. It does more than boost confidence. It just paints you in a totally different light. And so keeping an asset mindset as you look for careers and as you look for different opportunities really gives you the power in the driver's seat to not necessarily dictate the job you want. COVID has left lots of openings in lots of industries, so it's easier to find work for sure. But it gives you a new perspective on how you feel about self, and you are now only concerned, Miss Yolanda, with how you can add value to that company. You're intimately aware of the company's deficiencies. You're intimately aware of that specific department's needs. So when you are job seeking, you're able to only speak to those needs, and you do that through the language of leadership. Those taking notes may want to jot that down, the language of leadership. We spend time in the Cornerstones of Career Purpose class to really highlight that. And we give people a platform. Let me rephrase, we don't give anyone anything. We extract a platform from folks that allow them to discourse or communicate as leaders do. The only difference from the CEO of Fortune 500 companies outside of the fancy academic pedigree is the way they communicate, the way they problem solve. So we teach people to develop their own philosophy of problem solving, their own philosophy of service. All these things are really important. And then as you're seeking for these roles that are all over, coming back to the beginning of your question, we are empowering people to make really good choices. And we're showing them, how to connect with companies that are good fits for them. But more importantly, how does that company's philosophy of service directly connect to their own philosophy of service? That's something no one really talks about. We spend a lot of time doing it.
Okay. So I'm hearing all of this about the language of leadership, how to position myself, how to navigate to get to that, possibly that decision maker. But one of the things I want to know is that if I have received all of this, how do I connect to an employer? Are there employers that are working with this program?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. We are trying to give people the identity and the tools to go out and build their own networks from scratch. However, the cool part is that we've developed some really good relationships with partners that serve as our own network here at the center. And so some of these companies are Amazon and United and Denver Health. We've got companies like Marriott and KeyBank, and we're in talks with many others. Our goal is to show people how to build their own network, but then have them rely on what relationships we have with employers too. So what those relationships look like. We are able to talk to their recruiters directly. We're able to understand the needs of the market. We're able to understand the nuances of the role. And then we're able to connect the students that we train to those roles accordingly. We've got somebody who's got strong experience in administration, and there's some really cool openings at Denver Health. We're able to make those direct connections through an email and through a strong introduction. I think that's one of the really good value adds to this Cornerstones of Career Purpose program. And many other workforce centers are doing that very work. We have borrowed that and we emulate that as well.
Okay, so it sounds as though you're creating jobs that are not just lower level entry jobs, that this program is assisting an individual to look further into the employment arena, not just at an entry level position, but being able to create the ability to move into higher levels of employment within the organization.
Yeah, that's really important for what we are doing. We are going to let a person's experience, but most importantly, their own drive determine where they end up. And so your experience might not have all of the necessary credentials for job A, but your drive is so strong that job A might consider you. And so we're teaching people how to leverage their own value asset mindset to do that. We're also bringing in companies to meet people where they are at. I think that speaks directly to your question. So folks that come to us with a degree from Cornell University, they might want to do something else versus a person who doesn't have a GED. They may want to do something else. Our job is to listen, not force feed and cattle drive them into these opportunities, but to really understand what makes sense for the client and then for the org being our partner. So tons of jobs, entry-level, mid-level management. Some people have executive experience. There are many executive openings. People determine where they're going, not our partners. So yeah, I hope that helps shed light. We're trying to give people a fit to where they're at.
Sure, and we have a couple of questions from our audience. And the first question is, the COVID pandemic presented an interesting phenomena in the form of a mass exodus across most US industries, dubbed the Great Resignation. Any strategic advice for those looking to move into new sectors during this time?
Absolutely. I think that's a really good question. Lots of voids and vacancies throughout all the industry. The good news is there's opportunities there. I think the challenging part is to address that question, identifying how your past fits that company's future. At this point, it's going to be really important that you talk about ambition, and you really talk about how you've already built smaller roadblocks to help you land this more robust opening that you're trying to aspire to get. And so what I mean by that is just simply really knowing the nuances of the roles. Just because these roles are open doesn't mean they'll just give them to an 18-year-old who says he wants to do it. They're still looking for the qualified people, and you might not be the only one looking for that higher level as well. And so what you want to always do is talk about, how you're an asset, how you understand where the company is trying to go, and then you understand how that company has been resilient, How has that company overcome some challenges and obstacles? Fourthly, if you have time, you need to always discuss how you've done that too. Using that language of leadership should really help you at least get an opportunity to sell yourself, to reach for one of those roles and stretch for one of those roles that is now available and that we believe you can do. And so hopefully that helps. I don't have lots of time because I want to get through some of the others, but hopefully that was able to give some context.
Right. Thank you for that. And our second question is, how might finding the right mentor in a person's career benefit them in the long run?
Yeah, absolutely. Mentors are extremely valuable. I think they're always going to benefit you in the long run because the idea, at least, is they sat where you are sitting and they've gotten to where you aspire to be. And so one thing that really helps, instead of just asking them so much how they got there, mentors are very valuable to helping us to the next level because you need a good one, but they can help us find our deficiencies. They can help us, they can help speak to the person we want to be versus where we are at. People who find good mentors, it's twofold. It's great you found one, but you have to be very coachable and you have to take feedback a certain way. Really take feedback as a way of complete growth and investment and understand that, the insight you're gaining from the mentor is only to help you to grow. It's not to pinpoint areas where you just don't really have it. You have to listen to them to grow. I think mentors open up tremendous doors. Mentors bring tremendous networking opportunities. Mentors give you a new perspective. Mentors help you think about jobs outside of the career you are doing. Mentors think differently than you. One day you will be a mentor and you'll see the perspective from a different angle. So all those reasons, as I kind of crammed them up, are really important reasons to have a mentor, and that's how they can add value to your trajectory. Always find one. I think corporate America calls them sponsors, mentors, coaches, advisors. Find people who are much, much greater than you at what you want to be. And then you got to find somebody sensitive enough to communicate to you effectively. Most people fit that first tier, greater than where we want to be, great. But most don't have those skills to connect. So make sure you're finding somebody who's doing both, and hopefully that helps.
Okay. All right. Thank you for answering those questions. And we'll certainly look for a few more. But before we go, how do people find out about the program that you're doing with the Center for African American Health? And can just anybody sign up?
Yeah. Going towards that other comment that was saying, how can I aspire to a new role, or what's some advice to get new opportunities? People who are working can definitely still sign up for the program because they might aspire to a new role. People who are not working definitely should enroll because we're opening doors and giving them a new thought process to think about themselves. Sometimes people always feel, hey, I'm good with my hands. I guess I'll just do this job and see what happens. And then 80 years later, we realize we never really hit career purpose. And so this program is for people who are working, who are not working, who are reimagining their skill set, who are thinking about ways to leverage up. This program is for people 18 to 99. I will not take a 100-year-old person in the program. We wish them the best, but I will take 99. And look, I'll even recant. If you find a very spry 100-year-old who's ready to get on the assembly line, all power to them. But the program's open to everyone. You need to connect with Yolanda. That's going to be Yolanda at CAAhealth.org. I think our producer can put that in the chat for folks, and we'll make sure you are connected. But reaching out to Miss Yolanda will be the best way to learn about next steps.
All right. And I just want to add something to that, is that we are now going to be taking 14-year-olds into the program as we prepare for holiday employment. So we know that there are still retail positions and so many other agencies, organizations, and markets are looking for employees. And we know that as youth are out for the winter break, especially our young youth, they may be looking for some holiday employment. So we would also be able to enroll them in our workforce readiness programming. Our next cohort will begin on December the 6th, and our times for that are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And with that, as Emanuel stated previously, just reach out to me, Yolanda at caahealth.org, and I will make sure that we'll able to connect you to our next cohort. I do want to say that this particular program is an in-person program. We have some of the best social distancing, COVID-19 protocols in place, and definitely remind everyone of those protocols when they are in the classroom. We want to ensure not only your future work health and safety, but we also want to ensure safety while you are in our class. So, Mr. Wilder, as we wrap up, is there any last minute uh, comment, suggestion, offering you'd like to make to our group?
I think we went over a lot of relevant pieces. I think one thing I want the group to be left with is our approach to training folks for the interview. The skills we're going to be teaching people are so transferable. You can use them in any community, in any setting. But our job is to transform folks from the mentality of, oh God, I hope I get this job. Oh, I hope they like me. Oh, I hope I answered that question correctly, to we are here to inspire the person in front of us. And our motto here is simply inspire and you will be hired. So I just want to leave that nugget for folks that are looking for a very engaging, dynamic interview training seminar as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And for those of you that may be on the fence, we want to let you know that we are here. And we have one final question.
Yes.
And it's, if a person had a bad experience in the workforce, like discrimination, that discouraged them from working, what advice might you have to help them re-enter work?
Really quickly, I would find, and that's a great question, happens a lot. I would find an opportunity that you can fall in love with. Don't fall in love with the people. Don't fall in love with the organization. Fall in love with the work. The work itself never hurts you. A painter is never hurt by the paint. An electrician is never hurt by the electrical, connecting. She loves doing that. It's the org and the people that serve as a bad taste in our mouths, so to speak. But it's never the work itself. The course teaches us to re-engage with our passion. So the passionate person finds passion in their work. They're never let down by that. And so, your goal is to, or your aim is to really, let the work be your sort of saving grace. It will never let you down. That's a really quick answer because we only have a few minutes. But it's never about the people or the org. It's about what you provide. And then finally, you might want to consider some entrepreneurial activities that can help you build your own brand and service more people.
All right. And thank you. So we're out of time, and we want to thank everyone for joining me today. Emanuel, as always, you're amazing. Thank you for being with us. And for those of you who are interested, our next cohort will begin December 6th at 5:30 p.m. Please reach out to me, Yolanda, at CAAhealth.org. And I will make sure that you get the information you need to register. And before we leave, I want to let you all know that Colorado Gives Day is coming up. We would like for you to remember that CAA Health is one of the nonprofits that will be seeking your support. please plan your giving, and you can do that right now. So you'll hear more information from us with respect to Colorado Gives Day. Additionally, COVID-19 vaccine clinic will be, again, November 23rd, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. at 3350 Hudson Street, which is our new home for the Center for African American Health. Thank you so very, very much. And there is always information available on our website, which is caahealth.org. We are always available and open to serving our community. We wish you a great rest of your day, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.